You're listening to the Gulag Podcast with Narrowminds and Jay Stuns.
So, we were talking about this. You're very, very big on mental health. And I think we've touched this more than on one occasion, Doc. We talked about this subject because Doc also does a lot of counseling for people and talks to people about ways to help themselves mentally through this whole pandemic that we're going through once again. Apparently, the government didn't realize that COVID left. They thought it left and took the next plane out, and it's still here. Apparently, they didn't know that, and it's caused a lot of people a lot of mental stress. Number one, because they're losing their jobs. They're having a hard time paying. We've been lucky, I think everybody on here has been pretty lucky about where they're at in their situation. They're not freezing cold in the back of their station wagon.
Yeah.
So, but it has caused a lot of mental stress on people. Good example. I'm not going to name the person, but a kid. I'm building another community for YouTube, and we're going to start streaming it too. But this kid sent me a picture, and he's cutting his arm. He's left cuts in his arm. And I'm looking at him, I go, he's only 17 years old, and he thinks that it's the end of the world. And I told him, I said, if you think that being 17, when your mom's paying for your rent and you're going to school, and your only obligation is to go to school, you have food on your table every day, you're not stressed out about any bills. If you think this is the end of your road, then you have a big thing coming to you, okay? Because this is far from what the end of the road is going to be. And I said, you're pretty much, if you decide to do this, you're on the other side of the country. I'm not going to be able to get to you in time from you stopping from what you're doing. But what I said to him is that you're ruining the potential for the rest of your life. You're telling me you want to be a streamer. You want to do this. This doesn't happen overnight. You can't lose hope just because it didn't happen the next day. It's not that easy, and I think a lot of people that are coming into streaming are believing that this is the case, and it's not that easy. This is not something where the next day there's 100,000 people watching you. It's not that way, and I think people have that false, they have that false belief that that's what's going to happen, and it's not the case. So finally, you talked this kid down, and from what he was planning to do. But I think it's kind of interesting because a lot of these people that are having their mental breakdown are no longer going to people that they know. They're no longer going to doctors. Funny enough, you're going to find a lot of them right here on Twitch, and they will tell you straight up. And I don't know what it is about our streams. And I think it's in a whole, our streams seem to be the place that they come to right before whatever they're going to do is whatever they're going to do. Like good example, in a town close to, well, not that close, but I think in the Central California, that kid that they're trying to play off that accidentally shot himself with a gun while he was on the Zoom call with all his classmates. And they try to say no, it wasn't a suicide. I'm highly doubting believing that that's the case. That the kid just pulled out a gun and decided to fire it at his head and blow his head off in front of everybody in his class. But they're playing it off like it wasn't his intent to do that. But see, these are the things. It's so crazy that a total stranger that you've never met in real life before has more impact and power over you, and for you to tell them those things than for them to go to their family members. So just that being said, you say you're into the mental health thing. So I mean, tell me your experiences with what you've had to see on here and endure on here.
Yeah, so I think, the reason that people do this, honestly, I think going to a counselor, going to a mental hospital, going to that solidifies it for them. that they have an issue. And nobody
Yeah.
wants to know, like, be labeled that they have an issue. Nobody wants to be in that like clinical, like very pathogenized environment. I think what people are looking for and why it's so common on Twitch is that people are looking for somebody who understands. They're looking for that human aspect, and they're looking for connection. They're looking for empathy from someone that they can go to and not be looked at as someone with an issue or in a clinical setting, or like be labeled with a diagnosis. That's the number one thing people don't want, is a diagnosis, because there's so much stigma around mental health. If somebody knows you have depression, somebody knows you have anxiety, somebody knows you have schizophrenia, whatever it is, honestly, depression and anxiety are like one of the most highly diagnosed illnesses in our country. Or in the US specifically is like the highest number of these mental illnesses, but they're very, very common. But if somebody knew that I suffered from anxiety, that might taint their view of me based on the stigma that they've developed around mental illness. And this is such a thing that is so inherently just rooted in our society. It's generational. My mom, my dad, my grandma, my grandpa, they didn't think about mental health. It was weak if you went to see a therapist.
Yep.
It was like, you couldn't do that as a man. My grandfather suffered from PTSD. He fought in the Korean War. He killed people. He came back to a family and had to be normal and act like he didn't see that stuff, that he didn't partake in that stuff. It ruined his life. And now we know, we have the education, we have the knowledge. It's a little bit more, out there. It's more accepted that if you have PTSD as a soldier, you should seek therapy. It's not an easy transition. Going from a place where you're constantly afraid of losing your life to just living in a day-to-day world, that's a huge transition. Like, how do you go into a day after yesterday you were sitting in a trench, like hoping to God you didn't get shot? Now you're in the kitchen making cereal. Like that, how does your brain process that? It can't. Like, anyway, and PTSD isn't just for soldiers. We know that. Anyone who's experienced a trauma can suffer from PTSD. I think there's a stigma around that whole thing too. But the reason it's so important to me, honestly, is because pain and suffering and trauma is relative. What I've gone through as a kid might not be half as bad as what you went through as a kid, but I still have trauma from it. I still have wounds from it. I still have pain from it. So for anyone to sit there and tell me that my pain or my trauma isn't valid, is so detrimental to mental health, to wellness, to everything in general. And people come into my streams and they say, this is going on in my life. I had one person who constantly would come into my stream and say stuff about her ex-husband was a drug addict and her kid, like all this stuff. And it's because I've created a space where people can come and say those things, and release those outlets and talk about that stuff that they might not want to go to a therapist for. They might not want to go to a clinician because they think that people will think there's something wrong. And once people think there's something wrong, then there's a stigma around, oh no, like something's wrong with her, like blah, blah. And again, this is stuff that you need to come to terms on your own will and on your own terms. So for me, my story, I mean, I suffer from anxiety. I had traumas in my childhood that have left marks into my adult life. I was going to work every day. I was living my life, and I realized I couldn't keep up. Like, I couldn't go to work without feeling anxious about work, or have a relationship without feeling attachment panic and attachment anxiety and freaking out all the time. So for me, my life was becoming unmanageable, and I realized that. And I realized that I was reacting to things more intensely than the average person. It would hit me harder. I would be more afraid about things. So I came to a point where it was just unmanageable. And I was like, I need to talk to somebody. It can't be my mom. My mom doesn't understand mental health. She lived in an environment where her father had PTSD. They kind of just had to, sack up and get things done. And she was emancipated when she was 15. She left her family. But for me, it's like just having a space where people who have these issues can talk about them without being judged, without going to a therapist, without thinking they're different. Obviously, if it gets to a point where things are really, really tough, and I'm not a professional by any means, I don't have my license, I don't have anything to that extent. But if it gets to a point where I'm like, I think you should seek help, I will let you know. I'll try to be there for you as an active listener. I think that's the best thing we can offer people, is active listening and empathy and compassion. the one thing I tell people that has really helped me in my life with my own personal traumas is to have compassion. And I know you were talking about this, Doc, as well, but even seeing the people that have hurt us from a different lens, trying to have empathy and put ourselves in their shoes. Everybody in this world is doing the best that they can with what they have to work with. No one person is sitting there like, I want my life to be worse. I want to make someone else's experience worse. Every single person is hoping to have a better life, is hoping to have more money, more connection, all that stuff, like whatever it is. Everybody has goals. Everybody has dreams. Everybody has things that they're looking towards. But sometimes mental illness gets in the way and prohibits and limits their behaviors and their actions and the way that they conduct themselves. And that behavior might come across to you as something that hurts you truly and tremendously, especially in the case of addiction. Actions and behaviors associated with addiction are very, very hurtful and can be traumas to the people that have to experience it, like family and stuff like that. But taking it deeper and looking at that addict or that person who's struggling with anxiety or depression and looking at it from their perspective and saying, what would I do if I was in their shoes? How would I feel? What are the things that might be going through my mind? Like, it might help you reframe your own trauma. And for me, that's something that's been super beneficial. But having people in chat, just knowing that I'm listening to them, maybe I haven't gone through the divorce or the the abuse that they've suffered through. Maybe I don't know what it's like to live in that situation, but saying, yes, I have my own traumas and I know what it feels like to have pain. I know what it feels like to hurt. I know what it feels like to have a diagnosis, a mental illness, to have people think that, they have to worry about you and watch you and, that kind of thing. Just offering my own experience, whether it's the same exact circumstances as somebody or not, I think is comforting. I think people feel less alone. I think people can say, okay, maybe she doesn't have schizophrenia. Maybe she doesn't have a drug addiction. Maybe she didn't just lose her father. But at the end of the day, like, she's willing to listen. She knows what it feels like to go through pain and she's here to support me. I think that's more valuable than telling anyone, hey, go see a therapist. I don't know how to help you. So I think just being there and listening to their problems, even if it's just saying, I feel so sorry, I don't know what that's like, but I commend you for going through this. And I commend you for, looking to the next day and having hope and continuing. And I'm really glad that you're here right now. I really value talking to you and hearing your story. Just being there and like showing that compassion and that empathy, I think, is more valuable than anything else you could do. And so for me, just when people come in and they're having a bad day, I tackle that with empathy and compassion. And I also like to show them when I'm not having a great day. And I look for that in my community, which is why I think I've created this group of individuals that do share the same values of having empathy and compassion and support. Because I know when I'm having a bad day, I can go to them and say, guys, I wanted to do a great stream where I'm like, hey, happy Monday, everyone. But instead, I'm having a hard time managing work. I'm having a hard time managing my personal life. Having a hard time because there's things that are going on that are affecting me. My anxiety is going crazy, whatever it is. So they know that they're not alone, that I have those days too. I might come off as this streamer, this public figure, whatever it is, however they look at me or perceive me. But at the end of the day, I have pain, I have hurt, whether it's temporary or an ongoing thing. We've all experienced this as humans. And like I said, it's relative, whether you haven't experienced childhood trauma, or maybe, someone wronged you or whatever. We all perceive it differently, but we've all experienced pain and hurt. So it's just the human condition. It's just part of the human experience. So to offer that to someone else and say, hey, as a human, I get that. I understand what you're going through, how it feels to be you right now. I understand that. And I understand it's hard. And offering that hope that people can't go on without hope. I think once you lose hope, it's a really, really dark situation. And I think with COVID, a lot of people have lost hope. And it's really hard to get out of that. So just offering them like a kind word or, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad that, you're talking to me right now. Like, it just makes me feel good that I can be here for you. Like that kind of thing, just giving them like something to really just think about and have value, whether it's just a little thing. You don't have to like lie and be like, you're a great person. Like, I don't know you. I don't know. Like, but to be like, you're affecting me right now by being in my chat, by being here and supporting me. It means the world to me that you're here, like that kind of thing. Really, really helps. But again, I'm not a doctor. I don't have all the answers, but I just try to be a person. I try to be a sounding board, an active listener, and just be there. Sometimes people just need someone to be there and they don't have anybody. And being a streamer, you can be that one person and you can make that difference, whether it's through a screen or in real life. So just looking for that way to validate people and show them that you're here to support them in any way they need you is something that I've always tried to stress in my community. Just being a friend, you know?
Yeah. I mean, and that can make the difference because, you know, and honestly, one of the difficulties is it's like, well, you should go see a therapist. It's like people can't afford to see a therapist. Or maybe it's like I have many friends who are, you know, in that field, and they say, honestly, I have like 1 hour with this person every 2 to 3 weeks or once a month. So there isn't that consistent, you know, support. And if somebody is, you know, responding in a particular way, you know, it's like, okay, you know, because one of the first things I do is like, okay, what could be physically going on with them? They might have a calcium deficiency, and a calcium deficiency can manifest the exact same symptoms of an inability to think, an inability to focus. So it could be something physically going on with them. It could be a chemical imbalance. It could be that they have something like seasonal affective disorder. It's like, wow, you know, as soon as the weather gets darker, I really have a hard time and nobody gets it. It's like, well, there could be a lot of things going on, but by allowing someone to be able to explore what it is that they're going through without going through the filter of this is a fault, this is a weakness. And what you said, exactly. You know, I mean, my father was 16 years old when he lied his way into the war, and in 1949 ended up in Korea as a 16-year-old.
Yeah.
And his whole life, you know, he was in Vietnam, he was in the Philippines, he was in a lot of places that he had a hard time talking about. My mother would say, it's like, well, you know, because my dad would come home when we would relocate sometimes, and then he would leave again. And, you know, grew up military. And my mom would say, okay, always step very loud. Don't walk quietly around your dad. You know, just so we had to literally step loud so he could hear us coming. And, you know, these were things that we really didn't understand. But, you know, and like you said with your mom, you just learn, okay, this is how you do it. You don't ask why. And so, you know, by being able to help people, it's like if somebody comes to me and talks about, you know, that they want to end their life, the first thing I ask is, how long have you felt this way? Because what it does is it puts them into a perspective of, at one point, I didn't feel this way, but they moved into it. So then it can become cause and effect. You know, it's like it's not that you don't want to live, it's that you don't want to live like this. So what would a better life look like? So being able to get people to step out of the moment, and, you know, and I call it finding the eye of the storm, because the storm's still going on. But if people can step out of it and have that space, like what you offer in unity, your space is an eye of the storm, because the storm doesn't stop, but they have an opportunity to have a pause in it and to be able to kind of regroup, get their feet under them, get some support, and realize that the storm is not them, that there is a space in between. And, you know, and I was in Louisiana when Hurricane Andrew came through. And I remember what the eye of the storm was. And it was, the wind was blowing and it was dark. And then all of a sudden everything stopped. And we went outside and the sky was clear. And, you know, people were just picking stuff up and taking a look. And all of a sudden you felt the wind start to pick up again, which meant the eye of the storm was passing. And that's the thing about the eye of the storm. It's not permanent. We can't just stay there. But what we can do is regroup and discover what we need to make it through the second half of the storm. So by being able to, by what you're doing, by, you know, opening up about your experiences, that helps them find their eye of the storm, because they can borrow yours. So if somebody can't find their own, you can allow them. It's like, okay, we'll step into my eye, because this storm is kind of familiar to both of us. So, you know, being able to provide that, and being an older person, it allows people to kind of feel that I go into kind of that motherly sort of position where, if I look at somebody and say, I'm proud of you, and then they start to tear up because maybe they haven't had anybody say that, like, and what they would consider like an adult figure. I'm old enough to be the mother of most of the people I've dealt with. So the idea that having somebody who you can feel safe with, and it's like, it's okay, sweetie, I'm proud of you. I know it's hard, but you can do this. And, so you come from that older sister type of thing, that, that safe big sister who can be able to help them through. And it's like, hey, come on, we can do this. Not by pulling them out of where they're at, because they may need to be there in order, sometimes people have to be in that darkness to be able to find that light within themselves, to accept it, because they have to accept that, okay, this sucks. I have a saying, life is fun until it isn't, and it sucks until it doesn't. And if you can be able to go into that place and go, yep, it's also known as radical acceptance. I hate this. It's horrible. I don't deserve this. All of that can be absolutely true. At the same time, it's true that this is temporary. And, for those who are looking for a permanent solution to a temporary problem, it's that idea of, okay, I can be in this with you and we can do this. So, with a lot of the work I do is just being able to encourage people to take a moment to, just for a minute, separate from the storm and go, okay, this hurts. We can go through the grieving process around it, because everything can have a grieving process. Grief isn't where we get stuck. Grief is our way out. If we follow it, if we acknowledge it and we own it, that desire to, it's like, okay, this person is upset, so I have to make them not upset. Well, maybe they need to be upset. Maybe they need to be there, and they just need somebody to go, you know what, this does suck. I can't change it, but I can be here with you in it. So, there's a lot of those pieces that people can be able to, like I said, I believe everyone has the answer within themselves. They just need the right questions to be able to find it. And your environment allows them the space to find the right questions.
Or situations.
So I'm proud of you.
I mean, and I tell people, straight up that I listen to this guy, and I know I talk about a lot, Gary V, that we have one chance on this earth, and I make it simple for them. You have this one opportunity here, and and I'm not a PhD psychologist. I can't tell you if it's the right thing for you, but I tell people, I do know one thing is the one thing is that you've been put on this earth to do something. Now, it's, and we were talking about this last week. People want the easy road all the time, and that's half the problem. And I think partially it's a lot of parents' fault. You guys teach your kids because you spoil them their whole life. Like me, I started my first job when I was 14 because I wanted. I remember I wanted a pager. Guess what? Guess who's paying for that? Me. Anything I ever wanted was because of me. So my mentality is different. I've always had to hustle my way or make sure that if I really, really wanted something, that I was going to do it. And I think nowadays, more than ever, we teach these kids that they can get whatever they want as long as they whine and cry and beg. And they never do anything for themselves because guess what? Yep. Mommy and daddy are there.
Silver platter syndrome.
Yep. So that's why
I also think that they're...
Go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I also think that it's, aside from parenting, I think there's this inherent new way that our society is kind of looking at things with the social media platforms and stuff in general, with the instant gratification. Everybody's looking for instant. And this new generation of kids and stuff like that, I think starting from like my generation and like below now, if things don't happen immediately, they think they're doing something wrong. Like, why do I have to wait for this? Like, I should be getting likes now. Like, why? Like, and it's all about validation. It's all about getting the thing right then and there and always like having someone to support you and stuff like that. And so I think I think that's inherently part of why our community now, and a lot of people are suffering from anxiety and depression. And I think there's a lot of issues around self-worth and value, because a lot of the way that social media works, it kind of it's a lot of comparing. It's a lot of that mirror stuff that you were talking about. It's like, why don't I look like her? Why don't I look like her? Why don't I do this? Why don't I do that? Why don't this amount of people like me? Why don't I have this amount of viewers? Like blah blah blah. And I think people derive their worth from that, and don't think that, and think that if they don't have the most amount of this or the most amount of that, they're not doing something right. And I think we've changed from a qualitative society to a quantitative one, where your worth is valued by a number you see on social media, by a number you see on Twitch, by a number you see on Facebook, how many friends you have, blah, blah, blah. And it doesn't matter if you're a good person. It doesn't matter if you have values and morals. It matters if you look good on Instagram. It matters if, people think your hair looks nice or this looks like, and it's just, I think it's ruining our society, especially for women, but also for men. I've seen image issues come up for men too in my chat and in my society, and or in my community, and it's horrible. And I really hate the way that our society has come through all of this. And social media and anything is a double-edged sword, because there's a great aspect to it. You're connecting with people you've never connected with before. You're exploring this opportunity of being able to share your story, share your truth. And I wouldn't be able to do that if I didn't have Twitch and have this platform. I could reach like my friends at home, and I only have 2 best friends, so I don't know. But yeah, and so I think it's that. But you're right. I think the parenting is different. I think society is different. I think we've moved to this very fast-paced thing where people are feeling like they can't keep up, and they're burning out, and they're getting depressed, they're getting anxious. All of that stuff. And I think it's a factor of some of these things that we've instilled too. But that's been happening for generations and generations. Any new media is going to cause that. We can shape the way that our society functions based on the media that we have and how we look at things. So
I mean, and it's sad because the thing is our stigma has always been let's flaunt the fancy car, let's flaunt the biggest house. And the thing is I always tell people, when you die, they're not going to dig a grave big enough for your house and your fucking Lamborghini and all your fucking clothes that you bought and your fucking purses that are $1,000 a pop at Louis Vuitton, right? No one's going to bury you with that stuff. And that's the thing. Your happiness is focused on how many zeros you could put at the end of whatever you're buying. And that's the problem. And that's the thing, and people focus on that, and then they go on social media and flaunt all this shit. Oh, look what my man bought me. Yeah, and your man is now broke and can't buy lunch for the rest of the week. But if it makes you look good, then great, right? And that's the thing. It's like you don't need any of that shit to make you happy. What Katie has just proven today is that being on this platform, whether she's making $4 an hour or she's making $1,000 an hour, she's gonna be happy. Mm-hmm. She's gonna be happy. Sure. There's no amount of shit that should make you feel happy, because you want to know why? Internally, you are fucking miserable if all you're doing is getting shit, buying shit, and showing it to people. Who gives a fuck about their opinion?
Who gives a fuck about their shit?
Exactly. You're losing. Yeah, what I don't get is people look at people's opinions, and these fucking people are losing worse than they are. What does their opinion fucking matter? I've seen tons and tons of people on Instagram and Twitter. Their opinions. They're taking other people's opinions, and then when I look at those people's Instagrams or Twitter, I'm like, holy shit! You really give a fuck about what this guy's saying? This guy's terrible. Oh boy. He lives in like a bathroom, what it looks like, and he's talking shit to you about the fact that you got yourself a decent 2-bedroom apartment, and you're showing it on Instagram. That is the kind of people that I see today. Is they live for bullshit that has no effect on their life. They, instead of focusing on being happy and doing what you're happy, no matter how much, as long as you're able to live comfortably with whatever you're doing, be happy to do it. I mean, fuck, if there wasn't that, there wouldn't be people that could clean the porta potties. There wouldn't be people cooking your food. There wouldn't be people cleaning your hotel rooms. And if you notice, those people are the happiest people in the world. And then the most miserable son of a bitch is the guy that's sitting there as a CEO that has all this money. And I told this last year during Christmas time last year. There is a guy, I met a CEO last year. We met before COVID. And I asked him what he was doing for Christmas. He said nothing because all his family's gone. Now that is the saddest shit ever. You have all this money and you effectively are the most miserablest during this time of year because all your family's gone. Now think about that. He has all the money in the world. He can go on vacation anywhere he wants. He probably has a private jet, can go anywhere he wants. But he is effectively, even with all that money, the most miserable person in the world. And then there's people that get a paycheck every 2 weeks, are happy doing their job, and they're sitting there and they're the happiest people in the world. And we flip that around. We want to be the CEO. You don't want to be the CEO. You want to be the guy that's happy at the end of the fucking day. That's it. That's what life's about.
We got a couple questions in the chat for Katie. We got Death Angel asking, as a streamer, do you think you need to help the people struggling?
I don't think I certifiably can help the people struggling. I know that I have my experience and I will do my best, but I think as a streamer, it's kind of our duty just to meet people where they are, not try to get them anywhere else. I think, as Doc was saying, sometimes they need to be there. And so all you can do is kind of be an active listener. If I do see something that I'm like, this is kind of crazy behavior or whatever, like they might say something that I might think like maybe they're going to do something, they're going to act on something. I implore them to talk to somebody that might be a professional, but I always say like, I'm available. I'm available if you just need someone to talk to. I'm available if you need someone to just bounce ideas off of, or, just talk about something that's not whatever you're going through. And that's what I try to offer too, is just getting people to think about things that aren't what they're going through. And I think that's what streamers bring, is almost an escape for people to escape what they're living and just connect with you and get into your world and see what you're doing. And, just sit there and play a game with you if that's all it takes. And, figure out the level and stuff like that. And maybe, at the end of the day, people might look at that as like, oh, you're just distracting them from like their pain, but maybe that's what they need in the moment. So just meeting people where they are, offering a place to talk if they need to talk. I'm never going to be someone that's like, you know what, don't talk about that here. Go talk to a therapist. Like, I'm always welcoming to talk about whatever you want to talk about. And I will offer up my best life experience and knowledge and anything that I think might help you just change your perspective about things. But I don't think it's my job to like completely change your life or change your situation. I think that's a pretty daunting task for anyone. But if I can change your mindset for just 10 seconds or 10 minutes, then I think that's I'm okay with that. I'm happy with changing the way you're thinking about things. And hopefully you take that further into your life and, reframe what you're going through and take that and maybe it gives you hope. But yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I haven't talked about this today, but I actually am going through a career change right now. I really do want to be a therapist at the end of the day. So I'm trying to get into grad school for therapy, even though I don't have my bachelor's in psychology. I have it in communication studies. So I've been working towards going through the process of becoming a therapist and getting into grad school, into bridge programs, so I can eventually get my master's and then my license and stuff like that. But having anxiety, it's a struggle. Every time I try to go out to fill an application, my brain's like, you're never going to get in. So it's like a struggle. But trying to work through that, move through that. So someday maybe I can become a therapist. And I think that this has opened me up to that. I think it's something that I've explored throughout my whole life. It's been a constant. It's something I've been thinking about. Mental health in general is something that I've dealt with, seen family members deal with. It's something that's so important to me. And it is something I want to make a career, but it took me till I was 25 to realize it. So trying to pick up the pieces and move forward with that. But right now as a streamer, I don't feel like I can do that. I can't offer you the service that's going to heal you forever. I can give you my experience, hopefully relate to you and offer you support in that regard. But someday, hopefully I can be the person that's like, hey, here's what you got to do. Like, not that anyone has the answers. I think, as you're saying, Doc, they have the answers within them, but maybe I can ask better questions to get them there and have more knowledge to get them there. And more resources and a toolkit and education. And that's what my goal is moving forward. I do love streaming. And I think like, if I can become a therapist, I'll never give up streaming. But I think it's another way to kind of understand trauma and understand this stuff and offer kind of my support to people that I encounter on here, just out of nowhere. So yeah.
Well, let me tell you.
Well, hold on there. To compound onto that, she asks, what about the people that are just seeking attention, and how do you decipher between the two? Like, how do you know if somebody comes into your chat and is like, oh, I want to kill myself, if they're really feeling that way, or if they're at the part of like, you know what, I got to get this girl's attention somehow, so let me say this way your undivided attention goes to this person because they see how you're treating anybody else that has said something to that effect.
Good question. I think for me, just offering compassion to anybody that is going to say something like that. I mean, to say something like that, whether you're actually just looking for attention or not, I think there has to be something wrong that you're going to say that and you want attention, whether it's just from me or someone else. So having compassion and just holding a place for that person and saying like, I know what you're going through, or, if they keep going with it. I know that I've seen some streamers that gotten bombarded with people who, go in there and they're like, I want to kill myself, I want to die, like all this stuff. And we do see it pretty frequently. I mean, in my community, I think it's less because I think people know like that I'm open. I'm here to talk and to work through things. And I'll help you with that. But I think going through that, and if you're looking for attention, I still want to have a place of compassion for you, because I don't want to assume anything about anyone. Like, if they're looking for attention, they need help, like for whatever it is. Whether they aren't actually thinking about killing themselves or not is not up to me. I'm not going to sit there and judge or try to make assumptions in my head about whether this is true or not. All I can derive from that is somebody is coming in here looking for attention, looking for help. So all I can do is provide my experience and my support any way possible. And whether they are only doing it to get me to talk to them or whatever, that's something that they know and that's their personal thing. But all I can do is really just offer any kind words or help that I possibly can. And again, that's going to be on them, whether they're just looking for help or looking for attention or looking for help. But I want to give it to anyone that is looking for it. So I'm not going to discriminate against someone I think is just looking for attention or is looking for actual support. I personally don't know the difference, so maybe that's something I have to learn. But I feel like anyone that's looking for attention, looking for anything, if they're going to come into my chat and say I'm thinking about killing myself or something like that, I think it'd be really ridiculous to be like, oh, well, you're just looking for attention, so I can't help you. Sorry. Like, I think we don't know what they're going through. And that's the part of being on the other side of the screen, is I don't know what their motives are. I don't know what their motivations are. But as a streamer, all I can do is offer the best advice that I have and be there to listen. And if they want to go off and chat and talk, all I can do is listen. So that's where I come from, just being an active listener.
Yeah, I mean, and that's like one of the keys to it, because often when people are coming in, and yes, people can be narcissists or they can just be coming, it's like, oh, well, I want attention from this person because it makes me feel validated. But ultimately, I find that people are not as out of control as they want other people to think they are, but they're not as in control as they want themselves to think about themselves. So, there's that kind of fine line. It's like, oh, yeah, I'm playing them, but actually they're not as okay as they want to, they want to portray to other people. So, I mean, really, ultimately, all you can do is stay in your integrity, have those established boundaries in your mind, where it doesn't cross. And, just be honest with them. It's like, you know what? I really think that you could use some help. I suggest you seek out some people who are closer, to you, who can give you that help, because I really can't. I can support you. I can be here for you, emotionally. And who are the people in your life that you could be able to call up right now and say, hey, can you come over, or can we talk? So, and I think that you would make a fantastic therapist.
Yeah. And on the sidebar, you could do everything wrong for 5 years or 10 years and you'll still be young as shit. So it doesn't really matter. Like, I don't get people to tell me that they're in their 20s and they feel like it's over. It's not over. And if I realized this when I was 18, I would have done things so much differently. But when you're in your 20s, you're 25, you're 26, you could follow the wrong career path for that whole time and be 30 and still be young as fuck. and still be able to change whatever you want to
Yeah.
do in life. That's what I don't get. I don't get why people get like set, and I feel bad. I think partly is because of schools. Schools focus on us trying to find a
Yeah.
career for whatever reason. A good example, my sister got she got a 4-year degree at a university for interior design, which she only used for a very short amount of time, and then she got into marketing. Like,
Right.
you know, and that's the thing I don't get is like we should have. I think there should be a college where you kind of try taste a little bit of everything, because that's what it's about. It's about trying what you want to do in life. You
Yeah.
can't like I don't get this. Like parents don't even have this shit figured out, but they want to tell kids to figure their shit out. You know,
Yeah.
because they can flip like that, just like anybody else in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Like you just decided, hey, I want to be a psychiatrist now because I'm helping so many people, and I think this would be something interesting. Yeah, there's no
Yeah,
there's
I
no
mean-
real defined like time. Even if you're 25, I guarantee you, we're gonna be talking to you in like 5 years, and you're gonna be like, yeah, I got my degree, right?
Yeah, right. I mean, yeah, hopefully that's the
I mean,
goal.
that-
I think honestly, another part of it is just like having the experience. So I think when I was 18 going into college, like, and honestly, if I'm being real with myself, I think I was still going through a lot of trauma at 18. So I really didn't have a clear sight of like thinking about myself and what I saw my future being, because I was dealing with stuff at home. So for me, it was like, okay, I just need to go to college. That's all I know. All I know is I need to go to college. And when I was at college, I was like, what's the easiest degree I can get? I don't know what I want to do. I just need something like really general. And it was communication studies. So did that. And then after that, I graduated and that turned into marketing. So I had done internships and stuff, got into marketing. And then I think now, how many years have I been out of college? Like 3 years, 4 years, whatever. I think now it's like I've been in the field long enough to know what I like and what I don't like. And I think I'm just this type of person that I need to go to a job where I feel like I've made a difference and like helped somebody. I think going to a job every day and just going through the motions and doing this and doing that and like posting blogs and posting webinars or whatever for the stuff that I do, it's like, okay, that's fine. And like parts of that, aspects of that I like, but aspects of that are really just like, repetitive and stuff like that. And I think for me, I've also come from a family where like my parents just went to work and came home and like they were miserable in their jobs, and that translated to being miserable at home. And like, I don't want to be a mom someday where my only sense of worth and value is my children. Not that that's a bad thing, but I'm just saying for me personally, like I want to have something outside of my family where I'm like, I feel valued here. I feel like I'm making a difference. I'm making an impact. And for me, like being able to see the changes in somebody and follow their journey and help guide them to where they need to be or where they want to be and stuff like that is something that I really, really admire, because I know when I was a kid and I was going through trauma and stuff like that, I wish that I had somebody that would help me see the light, help me see a different life for myself and correct some of these like subconscious cycles that I was going through and stuff like that. And if I could be that person for someone else, whether it's a child or an adult, still have to figure out that side of things. I think it'd be great. And, I go to a therapist regularly, and I was talking to it about it to him, and he was like, yeah, like, you are very empathetic, and, going through traumas and having like mental disorders and stuff like that is something that can help you guide people and, have more empathy and relate to people. And, he was like, highly empathetic people and highly intelligent people are really great at being therapists. So he's like, I think you do really well and blah, blah, blah. And so I think I know at this point, I've thought about it enough to be like, is this something I want to do? Could I see myself doing this every single day? And doing it on Twitch, I think to the extent that I do it has only solidified that, I think, for me, because having people come to me and like telling me their issues has made me realize that it's something I can handle, something I enjoy, giving a response to and helping, reach this place with people, and having the education behind it so that I can do that in the like correct way, or do it in a way that's going to be more effective, or, maybe I learned some tools that I don't have right now, is definitely what's going to be good, I think, in the future. But starting here is great because I don't have a degree. I don't have anything that's like really backing up what I'm saying, but I think utilizing that empathy part is really, really key. And I think that's something I can do on the day-to-day on here that is effective and helps people. So I think I'm kind of building that here, but taking it into like this other space of hopefully becoming a therapist someday is something that's a goal for sure.
Well, you and the gaming doc are going to have your own show now, huh?
Yeah.
Sidebar show.
Let's go.
Well,
I mean, I can't speak on obviously being like the doctor or anything like that, but I can speak on the addiction part. You know,
Yeah.
some people know, a lot of people don't. But if somebody were to come into my chat and tell me they're thinking about harming themselves, I've been there. Somebody thinking to talk about, oh, I'm addicted to this, I've been there. The best I can offer is to listen, but if you take it too far, I'm not equipped to help with that.
Yeah.
So the best I'll tell them is like, listen,
Mhm.
you need to call one of the hotlines, you need to call a doctor, you need to call somebody and talk to. Because listen, if you want to talk about addiction, I got you. You want to talk about being depressed, I got you. You want to talk about anxiety, I got you. But if you're gonna sit there and tell me, no matter what I'm saying to you, that you're gonna off yourself or you're gonna do this, I can't help you, and I'm not gonna allow myself to go through the the agony of knowing that even though I talked to you, you still went through it, and then that's gonna reflect on me that maybe I said something that caused you to step over the line, and I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah.
I've gone
And that's
through too much shit
probably
myself.
Yeah. That's probably one of the most important abilities. And, you've mentioned empathy. Empathy is an amazing tool, and it is the ability to resonate with someone at the frequency they're resonating with, whether it's an emotion, whether it's, whatever. And the problem with that is it's very easy to get sucked in and take responsibility for somebody else. And that goes into, the shadow side of empathy is enabling. And it's like, no, I can fix this person because I feel their pain as if it's mine. So I have to fix them. And for Jay to be able to have that clear line, it's like, look, I can't help you. This is not my job to fix. This is not, I can point you in some directions, but you've got to open those doors. I can't open them for you, and I will not take that on. And that is a tremendously powerful and positive thing, because, the most dangerous thing regarding someone who's drowning is to try to save them, because they will pull you under. And you have to have a very clear sense of yourself. And, in training as a therapist, the majority of your training will be about how to detach yourself, to be able to help, but not get hooked in. And, for Jay to be able to have that and, narrow, I've known that we've had conversations about how it's like, you can only, the old saying is true. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. You can show somebody a better way, and it's their choice to do it. And they cannot make you responsible, and you cannot allow yourself to be made responsible for what they choose to do. It's like, well, if you don't listen to me, I'm going to go do this. I'm sorry, but if you're going to do this, you're going to do it whether I'm there or not. Whether, you've got to choose life. I can't choose it for you. You've got to choose to improve. I can't choose it for you. And it does relate to that instant, well, no, I want to be better now. It's like, no, this problem took years to develop. It's going to take a long time to work through. And you can do this. But they've got to choose it for themselves. You can't be responsible for, what somebody else chooses to do, because ultimately, we're all in this. We all got to step up into what we want to be for ourselves. We can get help. We can be supported. But ultimately, we're the ones who have to make the choice. And I always hope that that person can see at least the possibilities within themselves. But if they can't, that is not my responsibility. So good for you, Jay.
Yeah, I mean, I literally, when I went through my divorce, you'd be interested to see what's got me out of depression was a clip from Medea live on stage. and it's funny, right? But what he was saying was real about relationships. Like people go through these, and I feel like 65% of the people, that's what they're going through. Every time they go through a breakup, every time they break up with their girlfriend, they go through this depression thing. And if you watch this Medea clip, as funny as it sounds, the truths are all spoken right there. That people are like trees. People are like trees. But there's some people that are
funny too. It's funny too. Being empathetic is when somebody fails, you take it hard.
Yeah.
But like everybody knows me. I love to help people, whatever it is with streaming. If they have a question, I'm more than happy to answer them. And when they get successful and they're like, "Oh, thank you, Jay," I'm like, "No, you did this. I did nothing." So I pass the good, but I take in the bad. So like any good thing that I do, I'm just like, "No, it wasn't me. It wasn't me." But if something bad happens, it's all me.
Yeah.
How do you fix social anxiety?
You
You can't. It's something that you look. When I was a kid, I was total introvert. I was at the parties, sitting there. You used to go to the school dances. I'd be the one sitting in the corner, right? And then I saw people that were being successful, and one of my careers was being a comedian. You want to know? You want to know about social anxiety? Try being up on a stage by yourself with 100 people first, and then when I went into the peak of my career, I was at 10,000 people in a packed improv doing comedy, and I'm the only person on stage. It's all about you taking yourself out of the comfort zone of where you've been sheltering yourself into and trying something new. And I don't care if that's skydiving. I don't care if that's go-karting with your friends. Whatever it is that you can do now to help yourself do something new. Take yourself out of the box. Do something that you would never do. Skydiving is a hell of a rush. It's just like being on stage with 10,000 people. Right?
Yeah.
You want to talk about your butt puckering. That's going to be it right there. Seeing nothing but the ground and sky.
Pass.
It's fun. It's fun though, Jay. It's
Pass.
Just wear earplugs. Your ears hurt. So just wear earplugs.
Wear earplugs. So that there'll be air like blowing in your ear. And,
I'm good. My fat ass is staying on the ground. I'm good.
You have no reason to leave a perfectly functioning aircraft, huh?
So I mean that's the thing.
There's
is
no reason for me to get on a perfectly functioning aircraft.
That's the thing. Is the fact that you need to take your comfort zone and broaden it. And I think that's what a lot of people forget to do is they stay in their nice little bubble and they never get out of their bubble and they feel like, they're safe. Well, at some point, in order for you to move on from your anxieties, which social anxiety is a big one for people don't know a lot of times how to interact with people. And it's hard because you see them, you see them like they go out with their friends and they'll be the one in the corner staying at the table while everybody else is socializing. But for you and for anybody, it's all about taking yourself out of that comfort zone, going up and it could be as simple as you going up and introducing yourself to somebody you have no idea who the hell they are. I did that when I was hanging out at the bars with, Pagan knows the bar I went to, and I ended up hanging out with the owner of the bar and, got free drinks for the rest of the night. Now, if I was a social introvert, that would have never happened. But since I'm, number one, alcohol had a lot of influence on it. Yes, I was barely...
I was gonna say there ain't no in hell.
There was a lot of
couple drinks.
There was a lot of Jameson involved in that, but I mean that's the thing is you got to take yourself out of that comfort zone, out of just sitting in the corner and being quiet, and introduce yourself to one person, and that's all it takes. It might take that one person to give you a breakthrough, and you never know. This could be the best friend that you're always looking for.
That one person could be with you for the rest of your life.
Exactly, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing people don't get. And I think here on Twitch, you guys have that opportunity now. Yes, you don't get to see us personally, but you have that opportunity to interact with us, and that should kind of warm you guys up into actually going out there once we can all be socially together again.
Not distant.
Yeah, like it's funny. I had a conversation with some neighbors and. They're 6 feet apart. I'm like, I feel like I have to just. Do you want me to just text you? Like, I don't know what to do now because you're 6 feet apart.
Conversation with megaphone.
Jesus, I mean that's the way I felt, right?
Yeah,
but I mean,
right.
but that's the thing.
Cans on a string. That's what we used to do.
That could still probably transmit
There you
COVID.
go.
Yeah, you better be careful. They might find that as a new way to transmit COVID.
The germs will crawl on the rope and
they just they're just like going back and forth. Yep.
Oh gosh.
But that's the thing is if you it only takes one time. It takes one time for you to talk to a person that you would never have ever talked before. You have to get the courage to do it. It's all internally. Like there's a point in your life where you have to realize that it just talking to that one person can be a breakthrough for you. And it could be awkward at first. It could be I've seen them. I've seen people be awkward as shit right in front of the bar, and you're just like, ooh, boy, I can feel the awkwardness in this room. But then it breaks through. And here's the thing: next time there's a TwitchCon, go to the TwitchCon. You want to see see a bunch of people that are in groups and are socially awkward. They'll point at you because they've probably watched your stream and they know who you are, but they won't say a word to you. And I get that a lot. I'm just sitting there. The first time I ever went to TwitchCon, and I just barely made it to Philly at that time, and it was put in my hometown of San Jose. The people were in there. They were all huddled in little groups, right? When you walk into TwitchCon, because we went through a side door, because there was like a big line for the general population, and then there's a side door for everybody else to go through in the hotel. I went through the side door, and I just see all these little groups just everywhere, but they won't socialize with each other, but they're together in their own little groups. And it's funny, you will see that through the whole thing, and it's because they have social anxiety. They only know streamers because they watch them on Twitch. And they'll see people like Tim the Tat Man and who was I walking with? Choco, whatever. I don't even know who he was. He was just happened to be walking with me out of the hotel. But they'll point at them and never say a word to them. And I know they're fans, right? And then you see the ones that have gotten over their social anxiety, and they'll come up to you with a Sharpie and be like, "Can you sign this? Can you?" And then okay. So, but yeah, it's really interesting that Twitch has brought that thing for you guys to watch us and interact with us without ever having to actually meet us. But then when you do meet us on TwitchCons, you just point like this and go, "I know who he is." So you can hear him whispering too.
It's basically a celebrity effect.
It is.
Most
it is.
Of the time, if you're walking through a mall or something, you see a celebrity walking by, you sit there and point, but most people don't have the balls to go up and say anything.
I do. I met Jackie Chan at the Beverly Center in LA.
I
met Jackie Chan. He was at a Sharper Image sitting in a massage chair. And I walked up to him and I said, "What's up, Jackie?" And I gave him a high five, dude. That dude is a talkative. I love him. He's funny as hell. But Jackie Chan, I met at Beverly Center. He's all white jeans, all white jean jacket, and a white T-shirt, just like in his movies. Most amazing thing ever. But yeah, it's really funny. Like people don't think like you're a real person. And for me, I know I have my character on Twitch, which is Narrow Minds. So yeah, I do play a character, but it's just so funny because even like when I was living in LA and I worked at the studio that I think to this day they still shoot Grey's Anatomy on. Just the way that people act when the actors are around is totally different. You're just like, I go, yeah, so
yeah.
I mean that's just the way I am. I treat everybody equally. I treat you as a human being.
Right.
And I think that's part of the social anxiety is the fact that you got to understand that no matter if we're a Twitch streamer, no matter if you've seen them in a movie, in the end of the day, they're all the same thing. And if they act like they're better than you, they're full of shit. Yeah. We're not any better than anybody else. We have a lot more to worry about because we're public figures, but we're still the same person.
Yeah.
And then pushing their
I think the other part of that is
where they are.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think with social anxiety specifically, I think the fear around it is that they're going to go up to somebody and talk to them, and then there's going to be this horrible experience. Like they're going to be like, "Get away! No, I don't like you," or something like crazy. So I think being okay with like rejection is a part of overcoming social anxiety, because I think the deep-rooted fear of social anxiety is that someone's not going to like you or not going to talk to you or something around that. So I think getting over social anxiety has to also be this part of accepting rejection, which is hard for so many people because rejection is seen as this like horrible, horrible thing. And the reality of life is not everybody is going to click with you. You're going to have some awkward moments. There's going to be people that are kind of confused and stuff like that. So I think a part of it is just getting over that and saying to yourself, there might be an awkward moment, or maybe this person and I aren't going to click, but I'm going to get over it. It's just one person. Because in the grand scheme of things, there are millions and millions and billions of people in the world, and there's going to be someone that I do click with. So just getting over that idea of like the first person you meet is going to be like someone that you click with is like, you have to have room in your space to understand that like maybe they won't be, but there will be somebody that you do click with, and just keep trying and keep putting yourself out there. I think maybe some social anxieties stem from that awkwardness, or that, I went into a party and I tried to talk to somebody and it didn't work out, and now I'm afraid to talk to other people. It's like, well, you know what? Everybody has a bad experience here or there. You just have to keep trying and keep pushing forward, and you will make friends. Like there's people in the world that have really niche interests. There's somebody out there for you, like especially on Twitch. But yeah, just keep trying, keep putting yourself out there, and at the end of the day, there's going to be someone that you click with. So if that's your goal, if you're looking to find friends, but you have social anxiety, don't limit yourself. Don't let the fear limit you. That's what anxiety is. And, I can argue that it's uncontrollable if it's like an actual disorder or an illness. Yes, like it's subconscious. It's something that you might not be thinking about, but it's limiting you, right? So trying to work on ways to accept rejection and be okay with it and be comfortable with it is really hard. And especially like streamers, we come on Twitch and we're completely vulnerable. People are going to hate us. People are going to say things. People are going to troll us. So we have to be comfortable with that rejection. And I think that's what's helped me specifically with social anxiety and stuff like that, is being in a platform and being like, you know what, I'm going to be vulnerable, and the people who are here are going to be here. And there's people that are here, and there's people that are totally here for me, and that I do connect with on a deep level. But there's also people that come to my channel and ask for their money back because I have a boyfriend. So like F them, like straight up. So just try to overcome that. It's hard, but do things that scare you, nothing crazy.
Yeah. And part of it is that idea of actually figuring out, it's like, okay, social anxiety, it starts with the question, what is it about it that creates the anxiety? Where do I feel it in my body? Because some people, they feel anxiety in their throats because, it's like one bad scenario is, okay, this person rejects me. The other bad scenario is, oh my God, they're going to want to talk to me and I'm going to run out of things to say. And they're going to find out that I'm not very interesting. I can't keep up. So, and maybe they feel it in their gut because, they're self-conscious about their appearance and, they have that fundamental insecurity. And, people can experience a lot of things. And usually when I'm working with someone who has social anxiety, the first thing I tell them is, okay, I don't want you to interact with anyone. I want you to spend 3 hours sitting in front of a mirror. And I want you to sit and focus on what it is that you think someone else is seeing when they look at you. Because often it's about that reflection. So what is it that you think that someone else is seeing? Because with social anxiety, we're looking through the eyes of the people we're encountering and creating a story that fulfills that. So if you spent 3 hours looking into a mirror and, and a lot of people have a hard time with it. And I've had people, it's like, well, can I start with like 15 minutes and then work my way up? I said, absolutely. Sure, go with what's comfortable. Yeah. But when you can sit for 3 hours and look at yourself in a mirror, then you realize, oh my God, that's exactly what somebody is seeing. They're seeing that maybe, my hair is a little bit different, or I can't quite get it to do what I want, but I've got really nice eyes. Or, maybe I'm carrying more weight than I like, but I've got a really nice smile. And when people start to study themselves without the idea of, no, you don't have to interact with anybody else because the anxiety is inside of you. So this is between you and yourself.
Yeah.
And once you can look at yourself for that long and go, you know what, I accept what I see. May not be perfect, and I can see some things that I'd like to do to change. But when what you are reflecting to yourself becomes what you believe other people are seeing, that's often when social anxiety can begin to ease back, because we go into acceptance. Like, oh, I actually see myself as others see me.
Yeah. Right. That's so true. And even for me, like, I think there's also a part of that, like with the community, I think that I have. And I think realizing that for me came from people telling me what they saw and like not matching up with what I saw in myself.
Yeah.
And I think that's how I've been able to like understand, okay, like maybe I go on here thinking like, oh, I'm not good at games. No one will want to watch me, like that kind of thing. And then people are like, oh my God, I love coming here. You have such a great personality. You're so bubbly. Like maybe I didn't think that that's who I was. Maybe before I was like, oh, you know what? I'm pretty boring. I'm pretty relaxed. I'm an introvert. But when I come onto stream, people are like, this is awesome. Like I come here for you. It doesn't matter what game you're playing, you know? So I think that helps too. But again, it starts with you. And I mean, that can help change the way you think about yourself, but at the end of the day, it has to be you accepting yourself and looking at your qualities and seeing what you want to take and what you want to leave, and going from there and saying like, I can live with this, even if it's not perfect. I can live with this, and everyone else can live with this too. So
yeah, it's not about pumping yourself up. It's not about beating yourself down. It's about finding the middle point where what is real, where you have truth. So you go for what is true, not what is a story.
Right.
It's very rare when you look at what we think about ourselves, and if you were to go to ask your chat, what do you think of me, and have them answer you, it's very rare where their answers line up with yours.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
like 100%. So you can sit there and say, I'm boring, I'm this, I'm that. You could have somebody telling you, honestly, with the games you play, what you do, you are one of the most interesting persons I know. You never know. Like me, I sit there. I think I'm boring as shit, but everybody's like, no, you're not. You're fine. I'm like, okay. I mean, I don't do anything special. Right. I sit there and I do my thing, but you got people telling you you're interesting. You got people telling you you're this, you're that, and it's what they think does count. But if more than one people are telling you like, oh, you're interesting, you have a great personality, you have a heart of gold, you have this. If more than one person's saying it, it's got to be true, and that's when you need to sit there and accept what people are saying and be like, you know what? Maybe they're right.
Yep. There you go. The people you trust most hold an opinion about you, then stop making up reasons that they're wrong and just accept that I trust them for a reason.
So there you go.
Right.
We've there he goes. Magnum again. There you go. Magnum. That's Magnum 5.
Just saying y'all are wrong.
Magnum 6 right there. So we've solved it, boys and girls. You want to have self-confidence yourself, start streaming on Twitch or whatever you decide streaming on.
I feel like that's gonna ruin people.
No, it's not. It's not. It's
They're gonna get their first troll and be like, no. And everyone's gonna hype you up.
Oh, there's Magnum. No, that's Magnum 1 right there. Magnum 1. Do it again. Do Magnum 1 again. There it is. That's Magnum 1.
It needs to be an emote for you, Jay.
Yeah, Jay. You should do that. You should.
You want some emotes already.
You have great emotes.
Yeah, but I mean that would be
one out would be TPFB, and I'm never getting rid of that.
and if any of you want to know what TPFB is,
oh God,
ask Jay.
Do I want to know? I don't know. Do I?
Hey, you don't know, Katie? As long as you've known Jay, you don't know what that is already?
Jay and I have gone in and out of our relationship.
Oh.
They're just coming together again.
Jay, you're such a hoe, Jay.
Wait, what?
Oh, dang.
It's like, excuse me?
Because you're in and out of the relationship, you hoe. Can't stay true, you hoe.
No, we were never in and out of a relationship. We went in and out of talking, but I've always supported her, and she's always supported me. We've never been in and out of a relationship.
You're still a hoe.
Or whatever.
You're still a hoe.
He's better than I could.
Yeah.
And
I'm sorry now. I'm still thinking about you in the maid outfit.
Oh no! It's not. I'm not wearing the maid outfit. I'm saying whoever walks into the studio here, you haven't put on the maid outfit. So, anyways, and then for her, it's a tool belt, so he looks like the maintenance guy. See, it resolves our issues.
I'll put this out there right now. Everybody knows.
Okay.
TPFB is tongue punch that fart box, and that's all I can say about that.
What the freak, Jay?
Don't ask. Jay. Don't ask Jay. Never mind. I'm not even gonna say it.
I was gonna know any further.
He's definitely tongue punching.
Oh God.
And frankly, I think I'll stick with the picture of Narrowmind in a maid outfit. Because my brain doesn't want to go anywhere else right now. You're my safe space.
lesser of two evils. Yeah.
That's right.
Okay, for the record, I'm not wearing the outfit. It's for anybody who.
It might be secretly.
For the record, also the whole TPFB thing started because our friend Miss Sweet Tea was playing COD and she said, "Oh my God, this dude eats ass," and I was like, "What? They tongue punched that fart box?" And it's just been going from then on as a joke.
Oh
so
no!
both myself and Miss Sweet Tea had a TPFB emote. So.
That's awful.
I remember that day that she said that the guy must be eating ass. I remember that comment.
And it's actually evolved to where if we play Apex and we're in a game with a random person, I'll put my voice changer on. I'll literally ask them, "Do you tongue punch the fart box?" And the reactions you get are amazing.
Oh yeah, that's right. When we troll as Tommy and Jay as kids, it's hilarious because we will sit there and put on our voice changers, and I'll be like, "Jay, ask him," and then he'll be like, "So, do you tongue punch the fart box?"
And you'll get reactions from "Ew, no, what the fuck," or you'll get "Yeah, every fucking night, dude," or like "You're fucking weird." I'm like,
oh my God!
So then I'm like, only real ones admit it.
Yep.
Right. And that just goes into the interesting side of Twitch.
Well, I mean, when you get trolls like me and Jay that put on little voice changes, right? And actually have made believe people have believed that me and him are 5-year-old children playing Call of Duty Warzone. It is hilarious the responses you get because they try to censor themselves. Remember that those two teenagers, one of them was high as shit. And he was really trying to censor himself. And he was like sitting there, I go, "What did you?" I'm sitting there like, "What'd you smoke, dude?" And he's like, "I didn't smoke anything. I mean, I'm just high on life." And he's trying to play it off, and I'm just like,
oh my God. The first time I heard the voice changer, I was like so confused.
And let's not forget, too, that one time we actually had somebody in our Call of Duty games as we were trolling tell us that a dildo is a flightless prehistoric bird. So
Jay pretty much said that his friend wanted to know what a dildo was. So this kid comes back with, "Oh, it's a flightless prehistoric bird," and he goes, "Oh, well, my friend sitting next to me is saying that you're a dildo, so you're a flightless prehistoric bird. That's cool. I want to be one of those."
Oh no!
And I'm like, "Do they have?" And then I'm sitting there in my voice changer going, "Do they have a store that sells those dildos? Like what they look like?" I had to mute
my.
They
have one of those in the museum. I want to go see what it looks like.
No, you don't.
It's so that's at the level of trolling we're at. I mean, if we can make people believe that we're 5-year-old children, like 5-year-old boys playing Warzone, that's fucking amazing. And
it's not all bad. It's
not
all bad.
No,
because we did have that one family we played with. It was a father and his son, and he said that his son had a horrible day, and his son was nonstop laughing when we were playing with us because we were using a voice changer, and he thought we sounded like minions.
Yeah, I remember that.
We were going off. I was saying banana. I was doing everything. And then I noticed if I made my voice a little deeper, I sounded like Roz from Monsters Inc. So we were going around playing, and they're like, "Oh, there's a person over there." I'm like, "We're always watching." And the kid was dying. Like, he was legit dying. And after the game, the kid left. And the father goes, I really have to thank you guys because I have not heard my son laugh like that in forever. So there's a lot of the bad, like, the whole prehistoric bird dildo. And
I blame Jay for that one. That one was hilarious, though.
No, that was Lightsy. Lightsy's the one that told me to ask him what a dildo was. So that was all on Lightsy. That wasn't me. But there are the good moments by far outweigh the bad.
Yeah, especially on this platform doing what we do. And I mean, Jay comes up with some creative shit with his. I mean, he went from preschool pirates to preschool legends to preschool platoon, and now we also did a series called Paranormal Preschoolers, which I'll be editing some of that. But we will do some more.
Incredible.
Now that new map is out on Call of Duty, we will be doing another episode of Preschool Platoon on the new map. So there is a lot of, like I said. If one day, boys and girls watching, you get into a team with two guys that sound like they're 5 years old playing with you, watch out. Those questions are going to be flying, baby. I'm just saying. It's going to get crazy. All right. Well, I think we had a very good episode, a lot of breakthrough here. And as always, in the fashion of where we leave this show, our guests get to say their last words or whatever they want to say to the people right on that screen there. Katie, take it away.
I guess since we've had this conversation today, I would leave you guys just with this. I know that times are tough right now. Hopefully things are going to look up soon, but always have hope no matter what. The one thing I actually did recently on Instagram was challenge people to think about a positive that came from 2020, because we're bombarded with negative social media and memes about, 2020 was a dumpster fire. 2020 was so horrible. 2020 will be the year that goes down in infamy, and it is. And I'm not disputing that. We have to acknowledge that it was a horrible year for a lot of people. But I implore people to think of one positive, and if they can't do that, think about a lesson that they learned this year. So I'm going to leave everybody with that. Think about one positive if you can come up with one, and if you can't, think about a lesson that you learned from stuff that happened this year. I know for me, I talked about the positive being Twitch and this community, and just finding my passion here and finding my, a change of career and all this stuff. I've really just felt enlightened. I think this has made me focus on some of the deeper values and stuff like that. But, whether it's just, I'm still alive. I know somebody kind of answered with that, I'm still alive. So there's that. Just finding hope for tomorrow and, continuing to do that is something, it's not all bad if you're still here, and maybe that's the level of thought you need to have around it. But maybe there was something. Maybe you moved into a new home. Maybe you, found new friends on a new gaming site or something. Whatever it is, it could be the littlest thing, but just try to look for one thing. And if you can do that, I think you're doing great. So that's it. That's all what I'll leave you guys with today.
Doc?
Well, remember that you are the only you in all of the universe. You're the only you that has ever been or ever will be. And that makes you special. It makes you sacred. Also, keep in mind that you've overcome 100% of everything that you've faced. And it may not have always been pretty. It may not have always been easy, but you did overcome it. And mostly just be patient with yourself. You're not done yet. And everything that, you have is because you were there to receive it. So never underestimate the power of the universe to come up and help you out when you need it, even if it's just going on a stream and meeting some new friends that you can talk to. Look for the little miracles and be gentle with yourself.
Mr. Stuns.
Beautiful. It's so beautiful. I feel it in my soul, honestly. I really do.
Let's say, to all the asshole gamers out there that feel it's a good thing. No, seriously. To all the asshole gamers that think it's a good thing to go and talk shit about people that say they suck and this and that. Just keep in mind, 2020 has been a shit spot for a lot of people, and a lot of people have turned to gaming for it. So just know that the way you say things and the words you say could affect somebody very negatively. And just because you're good at a game or whatever doesn't give you the right to tell anybody else anything. You could sit there and say whatever you want till you're blue in the face, but guess what? You could sit there and tell a kid, say a 9-year-old kid starts playing COD because he's got nothing better to do. Maybe, he's living in a gang area, and instead of going to the games, he turns to the game. And what do? You sit there and say, oh, you suck, get out of here, go get a life. So what does he do? Puts the game down, goes to the gang, gets shot and killed. That's on you. So how about you take a little time, learn a little respect, and allow people to play whatever the fuck they want to play. Don't be an asshole. Play with people that are in the game. Don't downgrade what anybody does. Don't downplay what anybody does. Just let it be. Have fun with the people. Don't be an asshole. And just live life.
And if you're going to be an asshole, be a bleached one like Jay.
Oh
God!
Right?
Okay.
He's a reformed. he's a refined asshole, though. He's a refined asshole.
Well, thank you for that picture in my head.
I am a reformed asshole.
Reformed. Okay, reformed. I say refined
Okay.
because still know how to be an asshole.
That's what I'm saying. I'm a reformed asshole because I've made a lot of changes. I'm an asshole for the right reasons.
There you go. That's why I said you're a shaved, bleached asshole. That's perfect. No worries.
No.
He makes cookies. That
Who
is,
makes
you
cookies?
always are good when you make cookies.
Which
you go.
he still, he could take down my address at any time and send those. I'm just gonna.
Now
FedEx.
Not only you just call me a bleached
Plant
reformed
that seed.
asshole.
I'm
or
saying
sorry,
you're. I'm.
refined asshole.
You're. That's the nicest form of asshole that I could say.
Yep. No. When TwitchCon, when we're all at TwitchCon, Jay is in charge of popcorn, and he's also making cookies. So
I'm not cooking and making popcorn and making cookies. That's just too much.
Yeah.
Okay?
You're doing everything. Okay, you're the cook for the whole.
I
I
believe.
will cook. I will
I
cook and make popcorn.
believe in you,
I
Jay.
will cook and make popcorn. I'm not making cookies. No.
Come on, Keebler.
No. You can take that.
We'll
out
pre-make them and bring them with us.
Yeah,
Yeah, right?
I'll buy you one of those things where you have to pop the thing and pull the cookies out if that's what you
You
want.
can take your elf shit and shove it up your ass. Don't fucking Keebler, all right?
Come on, Keeb.
There you go.
That's your new
Fucking
nickname.
Jolly Green Giant to your fucking Keebler, all right?
All right, come on, Keeb. You don't make corn. You make cookies. Relax. You don't have string beans. You're making cookies. Relax. Call yourself a
I'm
Jolly-
Alan Jack.
No, the Jolly Green Giant. They have he makes a canned corn and the canned string bean. Anyways,
Whatever.
yeah, it is what it is. All right, boys and girls. As I always say at the end of the stream, you have one life. You have one opportunity. Why the fuck are you not taking it? I mean, life is very short. Life is never promised. Your time on this earth is never promised. So go do shit. Go do shit you love, and if it makes you only $15 an hour, go do it. Stop wasting your time pandering over other people's opinions, because most of the time they're losing themselves. Everybody, have a great rest of your weekend. I know it's Saturday.
Happy motherfucking 2021.
That's right.
Oh yeah. 'Cause it's the 3rd, right?
Can we?
It'll probably be around the 3rd, yeah.
Can you ask the legal team if
Happy
motherfucking?
Thursday of
Can we?
2021.
Can we trademark?
2021.
Can we trademark motherfucking 2021? Okay, good. All right, we're gonna trademark that. That will be Jay's new thing. Happy motherfucking 2021. Jesus Christ! Everybody have a great rest of your weekend. We will catch everybody on the next stream. Have a good one, everybody. We will see you all later.